Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Psychology Mythbusting. In this series, we examine popular myths from psychology, break them down, and discuss how they got their credibility. Today's myth is about the polygraph. Despite the fact that lying is really quite common, a myth has taken root in psychology that lies can be detected via microexpressions, the manner in which a person tells the lie, such as shifty eyes, and perhaps most prominently, as mentioned, the polygraph. However, these assumptions may be entirely misguided and not grounded in reality. In a study examining those with special training in security positions, such as judges and police officers, these individuals often do no better than chance in spotting lies. These means of quote-unquote detecting lies are in fact as old as civilization itself. Ancient Hindus used what was known as the rice test to catch an alleged liar by seeing if they would be able to spit out rice after being questioned. The logic went that if they were innocent and secreted no saliva, the rice would be spit out easily. If they were guilty, they would secrete saliva and the rice would become stuck in their mouths. Flash forward to the 20th century, and after a number of other methods, researchers began to examine other physiological measures to distinguish truth from lies. In the 1920s, psychologist William Moulton Marston invented the lie detector, which in actuality was a measurement of blood pressure. In addition to this invention, he also later invented Wonder Woman, who could compel villains to tell the truth by ensnaring them in her magic lasso. Go figure. Modern polygraph machines also incorporate skin conductance and respiration into the process. But regardless of impressions left by movies and popular TV shows, such as The Moment of Truth, this machine is not a quick fix for telling us whether someone is lying. So what's the truth of the matter in detecting lies? Well, with the polygraph, the examiner who asks the questions typically interprets the chart created by the machine and arrives at a judgment as to whether a person is lying or not. So right off the bat, you have a person interpreting results that aren't necessarily indicative of a lie being told. Now, physiological cues may seem helpful as they are associated with anxiety levels for the examinee, but physiological arousal levels can differ greatly from person to person for varying different reasons. For example, you may be a more anxious person than the person who was interviewed before you. In addition to this, a person who is always anxious or knows how to remain calm in any given situation can easily throw the machine off and make them appear as a liar when in reality they aren't, or that they are telling the truth when in reality they aren't. False positives are a reality quite common even on the most used lie detector test, the comparison question test. This imprecise means of measuring arousal levels hits on the idea that in some form or another, there exists a Pinocchio response, or an emotional or physiological reaction uniquely indicative of deception. In addition to these facts, examiners tend to be prone to confirmation bias, or the tendency to see what they expect to see in the person. The bottom line is that the polygraph is good for one thing: eliciting confessions, especially when people fail it. In a study by the National Research Council done in 2003, the comparison question test's accuracy was put to the test. In a meta-analysis, David Lycan characterized an accuracy of 85% for guilty individuals and 60% for innocent individuals as a charitable estimate of the accuracy of the test. Simply put, this means that there would be a 40% rate of false positives identifying innocent people as guilty. For example, if an intelligence organization discovered there was a leak, and it was leaked by 1 of 100 people, there would be an 85% chance of identifying the guilty individual, but 40 other employees would be falsely accused. However, given this statistic revealing an alarming inaccuracy of the comparison question test, it won't be going anywhere soon. The Pentagon has stepped up its usage of the polygraph in recent years and continues to screen new employees with the test. So this myth is not only perpetuated through media in roughly 30 movies with no hints of shortcomings, but seems to hold a large degree of credibility with the public. 67% of Americans and the general public rated the polygraph as either reliable or useful for detecting lies, although most didn't regard it as infallible. Additionally, the Federal Polygraph Protection Act of 1988 prohibited most employers from administering lie detectors, but the government still allowed itself to administer the test. So what can you do to help bust this myth? Knowing the limitations discussed earlier, as well as the lack of validity with the polygraph test, helps to work against the myth. When discussing the subject of lie detectors with friends, mentioning the fallibility of the lie detector may open minds to the notion that it is not an end-all be-all solution to finding liars. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.